What's up, Cougs? It is your host of Unorthodox Sports here on KUGR, DJ Squabo. We have a lot of sports updates to give you guys around the Seattle, Greater Pacific Northwest area. Wazoo, first and foremost, of course, and the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to cover NFL, NBA, NCAA sports today. We have so many different things to talk about, so many different things to touch on. Without further ado, let's get into it. With me today on my right shoulder, Mr. Aaron Monson. Aaron, great to have you.
What is up, Squabo? It's great to be here. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. I'm stoked. It's going to be a good show.
You sound stoked. And
stoked.
On my left shoulder, Mr. Asher Lind. Asher, yeah, our days with you are numbered, man. It's such a great honor and privilege.
Hey, great to be here as always. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's crazy time. My days are kind of running together right now. As you can tell, I kind of forgot to dress up for the show, but that's okay. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Hopefully I can get some more Mountain Dew from one or two of you tonight. Forward to it.
You know, we don't ever plan the Mountain Dew bets. We just find them. We
don't choose the Mountain Dew bets. They just insert themselves into the show whenever they please. They make the rules.
Mountain Dew gods hate me. That's what I've come to figure out.
That's just how it is, man. I don't make the rules.
Well, how we like to play it is like, if one of us says something just asinine, as a 10, just blasphemous, just take advantage of it. But see how much they are willing to stand up for what they believe, stand up for what they say. Gentlemen, I would love to get some controversial takes on this topic. The first topic that we're going to talk about today, the headline of the show, the thumbnail, the title, J.J. Watt to Arizona. J.J. Watt has officially joined the Arizona Cardinals. He's with them on a 2-year deal worth up to $31 million, averaging a little bit over $15 million per year at that rate. The Cardinals were not one of the top teams he was talked about. People said he was going to go to Tennessee. People said he was going to go to Green Bay. People said he was going to go to Pittsburgh. People said he was going to go to Cleveland. People said he was going to go to Buffalo. Nobody was talking about Arizona as a potential landing spot, let alone for this much money. And There's even been controversy afterwards. Some people saying they think this is the most that he got offered, but I've heard plenty of reports that he got offered more from Cleveland and from one other location, and Tennessee offered a comparable paycheck over the next couple of years. So first, gentlemen, I want to get your reaction, and then we'll kind of get our Seahawks touch on it. And of course, he's so far away over there, Asher. He's not a Seahawks fan, but he can still give us our unbiased opinion, or his unbiased opinion on what this means.
I'm really good at giving unbiased opinions. I mean, you two agreed with me on a lot of things. You're just like, oh, hey, it's very objective. That's how I like to be. But my first reaction was I was astonished as much as you guys were, I'm sure. Excuse me. I follow him on Twitter, and I saw his tweet of him lifting in a Cardinals shirt and said sourced me, and that essentially quoted or told everyone I'm going to Arizona. I was like, whoa. No one said anything about Arizona. It was like the Bills, the Packers, the Browns, maybe the Steelers because of the fact that his brothers play there. But Arizona was definitely not on my radar at all. And when I thought about that, I thought, okay, Arizona just got a lot better. He gets to play with DeAndre Hopkins again. They're on opposite sides of the ball, but that chemistry, I think, will still have an impact on the field. I think he gets to play with Chandler Jones, who's just a nightmare on the defensive side of the ball. Him and J.J. Watt make the defense really good. I think, is he overpaid? I don't know, because he hasn't been super healthy throughout his career. But when he was healthy in Houston, he was probably the best player at his position in the National Football League. And so I think he's worth the money, but I don't know if Arizona needed to pay him that much. But hopefully he gets a chance to prove his worth this season. I really want him to stay healthy. It's impossible to not root for J.J. Watt. Like everything he did with Houston and the Hurricane Harvey relief. Chris Paul was a guy in Houston at the time too, and reached out to help him, and now they're both in the Valley in Arizona, and so that was kind of cool to see. But he's just a really good guy off the field as well. But the things he can do on the field are just really scary, and so I think this makes Arizona a much better team with JJ, because you have that veteran leader too coming in, getting these young guys, JJ Watt, Chandler Jones, Buda Baker, just to name a few people. But I think this is a really good move for Arizona, despite how much they paid him.
Aaron.
Yeah, no, Asher, I could not agree with you more. When, back back when JJ Watt, like when you first started hearing about him, like I feel like when he started really to start getting really good in his career was like a couple years after he got drafted, right? Like he was kind of like everybody for the most part is usually kind of slow their first year, getting used to the whole NFL. And then when you started hearing about
that was not JJ. Like he was a monster from the get go. Like he transformed the league. I think like he's one of the most popular players to talk about, and that's why he's getting so much boom right now. It's because everyone knows who JJ Watt is, and for good reason. Defensive Player of the Year, all the things he did in Houston. He didn't get them anywhere because their front office was not great, as we've seen.
The front office is still not good. So
yes, I won't disagree with that. Front office coaching, not the best. However, the talent on the field, no one's questioning it. And I think we can all agree it makes Arizona slightly better.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think in Arizona they only went 8-8 this last year, right? And so having somebody this scary on their front line, like, it makes the Seahawks season that much harder than it already is, right? The NFC West is already the toughest division to be in, right? And then just adding a stud like J.J. Watt, who, like you said, from the get-go has been a defensive monster on the line. When he's healthy, right? But I mean, like you said, you can't really root against him. I've always liked J.J. Watt. You know, I've been following him on Twitter and Instagram for like the longest time, and
he's just an all-around good guy.
He is, exactly. And like I want to see him succeed, but you know, seeing him in the Arizona Cardinals, like, crap, not gonna root against him, because like when they play the Seahawks, or like just in the NFC West in general, like the only team I root for is the Seahawks because I want them to be on top of the division every year. But especially if Russell Wilson somehow disappears from the Seahawks, somehow, if he does, because it's very likely, then I mean, I might start to become a Cardinals fan a little bit. see their win.
Amount bets into some merch bets. Then we need to get you some cart. You can try to hop on a bandwagon.
No, I'm not trying to hop on a bandwagon. I'm just saying I'll start to support the Cardinals more than I already did, just because JJ Watt.
Okay, that's respectable.
Aaron, I'm about to slap the Seahawks back into
Why?
you.
Hold on. I'm liking the Cardinals for a player. That's the only reason why.
Okay, no,
JJ Watt.
But okay, JJ Watt, it's nice to bring him in. He's going to have a big impact. Mm-hmm. Is he worth the money that he just made? Yes. In terms of locker room and sellability and guys believing in him and all that stuff, yeah, he's going to have a big impact. In terms of the numbers on the field, he's not going to be their leading sack getter next year. Either Chandler Jones or Hassan Reddick, or who this year had 12 and a half sacks and a breakout performance. So they have pass rushers. JJ Watt comes in. Look, last year he played all 16 games. He only had 5 sacks, 52 tackles, 17 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, a touchdown, and an interception. The year before, he only had 4 sacks. So the past 2 years, he only has 9 sacks. Last year, he played all 16. The year before, he did not. So he's had injury problems as of late as well. It's been a while since he's had one of those big seasons. The last one was 3 years ago, where I believe he had 16 sacks. But this past year, like I said, only 5 sacks. That's the same amount as Carlos Dunlap, who we got halfway through the season, had for Seattle. And that's only 1 more than Alton Robinson had in Seattle. So in terms of his individual sack numbers, I don't expect him to go out and get 15 sacks. I could see him having another 10 sack year, and if he does, that would be phenomenal for him, and that would be a major impact. But he still has to go out there and he has to do that. There are a lot of different perspectives that we have to address when looking at a signing like this. Not only does it make the NFC West have the best defensive lineman division in the NFL. You talk about the Carlos Dunlaps, the Aaron Donalds, the Nick Bosas, the J.J. Watts, the Chandler Jones now. The pass rush in this division is just ridiculous, and it just got that much better. But I want to get your thoughts on this. When someone's bullying a kid in school, and that kid goes home to their parent, and they want to know, like, what do I do? The parents are always like, don't react to it, right? Like, don't let them know that they are bothering you. Why? Because if they know that what they're doing is bothering you, that is their reward. They want to get on your nerves. They want to make you upset. And so if you don't show them that, then they will stop because they're not getting rewarded for it anymore. But if you do show them that, they're just going to keep going, and they're going to keep harassing you, and they're going to know that they're in your head, so they're going to go twofold at that point. The Arizona Cardinals saw how Russell Wilson is upset about getting hit too much throughout his career. 394 sacks, which is the most sacks through the first 9 seasons in NFL history for a starting quarterback. He's only roughly 100 sacks away from Tom Brady, who's had twice the NFL career span as Russell Wilson. He's almost up to him in half the time. Russell Wilson just vocalized his upsettedness with the franchise for not providing him with the proper protection and not allowing him to stay on the field all season long. The Arizona Cardinals saw this outbreak in Seattle, saw that Russell Wilson was upset, saw that Russell Wilson has a weakness, and saw that the division is starting to bother Russell Wilson, and they said, fine, J.J. Watt is definitely worth the money. Let's go and make them more upset about something that we already know bothers them. We already know offensive lines are weakness. Seattle just won the division. Seattle is still the top dog. Seattle is the one that everyone looks at this year like, okay, that game is circled. If you didn't already circle your divisional games, we just won the division, so we have a target on our back. They are looking at us like, this is their weakness. This is how we beat them. They just told us that they hate it. Let's go kick their butt. That's how I look at this. Move from an Arizona standpoint, from an elementary school bully perspective. They know what makes us upset, and they're trying to make us more upset in that aspect. Tell me your thoughts. Pushing on a bruise, Asher.
Well, sorry. Go ahead, Asher.
Yeah. Do you want to go, Aaron? I don't care.
Yeah,
sure.
go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah. No, I was really confused where you were going with that to start off with. I'm like, okay.
He had us in the first half, not gonna lie.
You did have me in the first half. I was like, but, the more I think about it, the more, Squabble, you may be low-key a genius, and I'm not going to say that very often, but that makes a lot of sense. Like, that is a really good analogy, the way you think about it. It took, how long ago did Russell come out public saying how upset he was, that he was frustrated?
A couple, 2-3 weeks.
A couple weeks ago, and then 3 days ago, the Cardinals, who, a divisional rival, because technically we're a divisional rival with everybody. I wouldn't really count the Niners as much anymore like they used to be, but definitely the Cardinals and Rams are up there. But front office standpoint for the Cardinals, that's a smart decision. It makes a lot of sense. Like, wow, they're going to keep pushing on our offensive line that desperately needs the help, and they understand that they can break us down that way and make Russell the most sacked quarterback almost ever. So.
Well, and the other aspect to it, and Asher, I want to get your thoughts with this. This in mind as well. Before yesterday morning, when we got the news, when I woke up yesterday morning, scale of 1 to 10, how bad Seattle? Because we all know what Seattle needs this offseason and free agency. We all know Seattle needs a left guard, a new center, maybe a right tackle if we got the time, and definitely some new corners, right?
And a new line, yeah.
That's what we said heading into the offseason. Controversially, I believe the first move Seattle needs to make is center, because I used to play it and I know the importance of the position. Center is the most important position on the field outside of quarterback, because they're the only other person that touches the ball every single play. Regardless, we both know it's widely accepted that Seattle needs a new center and left guard. Before yesterday morning, scale of 1 to 10, how bad did we need a new right tackle? I'd say a 2 or a 3. After that signing of J.J. Watt to the Arizona Cardinals, that 2 or 3 jumped to a 7 or an 8. How badly we need a new right tackle at this point, based on that signing. So I want to get your reaction to that and the other theory that I brought up about them poking a bruise intentionally out of division rival. Asher, let's go to you.
I definitely agree with the analogy. It took you a while. It took a while for me to get it, kind of like Aaron. But no, I think I agree with what you're trying to get at, because when you think of J.J. Watt, bully is one of the first things that comes to mind. Just looking at how built, how physical he is with people. He can just push people aside. We've seen it throughout his career. The fundamentals and the footwork of JJ are almost unmatched. His swim move, able to get up into the backfield and just wreck whoever has the ball. It's otherworldly, what he can do when he's totally healthy. And to your point, the Cardinals are now the last team in that division to kind of have that defensive duo that everyone else has in the division. Because I wrote down all the defensive stars from the other team: Ramsey and Aaron Donald, for the Rams are their two best. Bosa and Sherman for the 49ers, they're both kind of bullies. And now Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt for the Cardinals. And if you throw Seattle in there, you have Dunlap and
Bobby Wagner.
Adams.
And Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, what have you.
Adams, yeah.
I was trying to remember, but you don't have to worry about those guys if you're Russell Wilson when it comes to games. But now everyone else in the division has like these 2 or 3 like bullies that are trying to get after Russell Wilson. And I don't think it will happen, but it's something worth asking and something that I've asked myself. Given how defensive the division is right now with all these names and all the coaches in the division, does it make Russell Wilson want to leave a little more? Because if I saw my division rival sign J.J. Watt and add that to Chandler Jones, Buda Baker on the same side of the ball, I would at least think about it. I mean, it'd be impossible for me not to consider. You know,
you'd have to really ensure that offensive line changes are going to be made. I feel like, like to make you want to leave less, because if you think about it, winning a game against J.J. Watt and Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, that's not an easy thing to do when you're a quarterback, right? So the accomplishment that you get from that, I would hope, overrules the skepticism that comes with playing against them that frequently, But at the same time, you just have to I feel like that's when Russell, I'm sure he's been on the phone with the owners and Schneider and Pete, saying, "Hey man, did you see that? Let's okay. You know what we need to do now, right? 100%." Drafting offensive linemen, that's what needs to happen, and then he slams his phone down.
I agree.
Exactly. He just
taps the phone on his iPhone.
And maybe that's a wake up call for Schneider and Pete as well. To show them, holy crap, we gotta get some new linemen going.
Yeah, and I'm not. And to be clear, I don't think Russ will leave because of the J.J. Watt signing. Because if anything, I think Russell Wilson is the type of person that will step up to the challenge and stay in Seattle and overcome the challenge that is J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and the list goes on and on. We know how good the defenses are in that division. And I think that just goes to show how good of a person Russell Wilson is. We've seen he's committed to Seattle, and I don't think he's leaving, to be honest, even with J.J. Watt and all these guys coming back, because he didn't have to go against Bosa either last season because he got hurt pretty early in the season and didn't play in either of the Seattle games. And so he's coming back too, and he's a nightmare as well. He's like a younger J.J. Watt almost. The fundamentals, the build, the athleticism, they're all reminiscent of J.J. Watt almost. And the ACL injuries too, unfortunately, are kind of similar to that. It's kind of scary thinking about how comparable these guys are to J.J. Watt. Each team almost has their own form of J.J. Watt, and Russell Wilson having to play essentially a different version of J.J. Watt 6 times a year is kind of scary, but he can definitely overcome it because he led Seattle to the playoffs last year. They didn't really do much. They lost to the Rams. The Rams were able to get their revenge, but Russ is the type of guy I think that is more inclined to stay as opposed to leaving after the J.J. Watt. I'm not it is a question worth talking about though, because there are a lot of quarterbacks. Or there's a lot of discussion around this. Is Russell going to leave? And now J.J. Watt's coming. Oh, he's probably going to leave now because of that. I feel like he wants to stay even more, to be honest with you.
Well, if that is not a perfect transition into our next topic, let's just ride this wave all the way into it. Will Russell Wilson stay in Seattle? There have been so many conflicting reports, so many conflicting rumors. Players like KJ Wright come out and say there's no way he's leaving. But other sports analysts and fans understand why and say that it's inevitable that he's going to leave and that there's no way he stays in Seattle throughout the rest of his contract. And even if he does, he's gone after it. So, gentlemen, I want to flip the floor over, and I have a feeling Aaron is going to say some crazy stuff that I'm really going to want to put dew on. So, Aaron, let's go to you first. Please tell the people what will happen with Russell Wilson.
I think you're going to be disappointed by me not going crazy, but I think he stays. In all honesty, I think once. Okay. How long is Pete Carroll's contract go for?
Well, he just extended it 5 years.
Man, he's gonna be an old guy.
He turned 70 this year.
Holy cow! What a.
He doesn't look like it though. Probably.
No, he looks like he's 50, 60. He looks. Anyway, I think. To be honest with you, Russell Wilson has built up such an image of himself around Seattle, when you think Seattle sports, we've talked about this before. When you think of Seattle sports, like
First guy is
instantly,
Russell Wilson. Yep, first
instantly,
guy.
no matter what sport, you can just say Seattle sports. You don't even have to say Seattle football. It's Russell Wilson is the first guy you think of. He's got such a social media image around himself. He's got popularity with every single Seahawks fan, and even like lots of non-Seahawks fans. Like, it's hard not to like Russell Wilson. You never see him get angry, except for like more recently when he's been frustrated. You just don't see anything you don't see much happening like that. But in all honesty, if John Schneider and Pete Carroll go after these offensive linemen like Russell wants them to, he's like, I mean, this is going to sound obvious, I guess, but he stays. But if the draft doesn't go how Russ wants it to, or like the trading deadline doesn't go how he wants it to, I don't think he does. Like, I think how much time does he have on his contract? 2 years left? Is that what it is?
3.
3 years left in his contract. Oh. Because, it's clear that he wants change immediately, right? He wants it like now. And so that's the frustrating thing. Yeah, exactly. You wanted it yesterday. And it's becoming clear to me that he is like slowly starting to get fed up. As like I'm sure it is with everybody. But I think he stays another 2 years, like for sure. But if the change doesn't happen in those 2 years, he's gone. Like that last year of his contract, somebody else picks it up. It's just tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, because I feel like Russell Wilson also a guy who will who will stay through his contract, and I feel he has some good pieces to build. It's not like they're the Jets or the Jaguars or some bottom feeder team. No offense to those teams, but let's be real, they're bottom feeders. But he's got DK Metcalf, a top 5 receiver in the league. He has Tyler Lockett. We know his ceiling. He had that giant I don't even know how many yards they have. It was 200 or 300 yards. He just absolutely went off last season. Had like almost 60 fantasy points. So he has a high ceiling too. The defense got better with Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap. Like they're a good team. They're like a top quarter team in the NFL. So it's not like he doesn't have anything to work with. He's got some really great weapons. And we all saw DK Metcalf and what he was able to do and break out this season like a lot of people expected. So he'll at least stay through the rest of his contract. And I think given Russell Wilson's past and success and what he's been able to do with Seattle, getting them their Super Bowl ring, I think they will listen to him eventually. It might take some time and some arm twisting from the front office and Russell Wilson to convince them, but I think they'll eventually get some offensive linemen and that center and right tackle that you were talking about. It might not be the best options out there, but I think they will make changes eventually because the front office wants to keep Russell Wilson happy, because like Aaron said, like he's the face of Seattle. And if they lose Russell Wilson, they lose a lot of reputability and fans, because all the fans will look at that and see like, oh, how could you let Russell Wilson walk, or how could you trade away the face of our franchise? And so I feel like a lot of people, like fans too, like not even football related people, will be really upset with the franchise, and they don't want to lose revenue or viewership to a lot of that too, because a lot of people love to watch Russell Wilson play football. Like, he's really fun to watch. Like he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, like for a reason. And so if they lose Russell Wilson, they lose a lot more than they're the best quarterback they've ever had. They lose way more than that. So they need to find a way to keep him. And I think they do, and I think he stays through, like Aaron said, at least through his contract. After it goes up, it might be picked up by someone else, because a lot can change in 2 years. Like a lot can change in 2 months in football, like we saw with this season, like with all the ACL injuries. We saw like Nick Bosa, Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham, like so many things. Like tomorrow, like someone could tear their ACL and the face of your franchise is just totally wiped out, and you're a totally different team with a brand new identity. And so at the end of 2 years, who knows what'll happen? But I think he stays for at least 2 years, and hopefully they pick up his contract, because I'd like to see him retire a Seahawk, just because he's kind of grown on me in a Seahawks jersey. It'd also be really weird to see him in any other uniform out there. So I think he does stay, and hopefully he stays when his contract expires. Hopefully they give him a new one.
Well, unfortunately, I could see him in a different uniform, but just the visualization is all the realisticness of him going to a different team. I don't think he goes to a different team is what I'm getting at. And there are a couple different aspects of this I don't want to talk about, because I don't think Russell Wilson, first of all, every time he's asked for something from Seattle, we've given it to him. He wanted superstars, we go out, we trade for Jamal Adams, we go out, we trade for Carlos Dunlap. He's asked for things in the past, and we have answered those things. He wanted weapons, we got DK Metcalf. Like, we have gotten the superstar talent around him. We have answered the bell every single time he's wanted something. He wanted to air it out more last offseason, and we started the let Russ cook era. So there, at a certain point it went away, yes, but we listened to him, and we've shown him that in the past. So as long as we keep listening to Russell Wilson, I think we will be okay on that front. Now, I think Russell Wilson plays out this contract. I think he stays in Seattle afterwards. And I think it all lives happily ever after. But, gentlemen, allow me to take you on another long little rabbit hole kind of... Let me get this point across.
So
if I'm dating a woman, right?
Okay. All right.
This should be good.
Here we go.
Every single time, yes. If I'm dating a woman and... we're all good, she suggests to me that she wants me to get in better shape. Now, for me personally, I would be okay with this. If she were to tell me, hey, I need you to get in better shape, I don't, you don't necessarily have to, but like you suggest, I'm all for it. Like, okay, I'm up for suggestions, I'm up for debate, I'm up for discussion, I'm willing to listen to her perspective. As long as she does it too, and she helps me help her. You're not going to sit here and tell me that I need to be eating healthier while sitting there eating ice cream and a big old bag of chips. If you need me to eat healthy, you eat healthy with me so that we can do this together. You're not going to sit here and tell me I need to go to the gym every day and you stay home doing nothing and being a couch potato all day when you want me to get in shape, and you're not going to help me help you by supporting me, by coming with me to the gym to accomplish your goal. If you're not going to help me help you, then why should I want to help you? Russell Wilson with Seattle wants all the power, all the sane personnel, all the decisions, all the play calling abilities that Tom Brady has. But he is unwilling to do the things that Tom Brady does that other players don't like to do that makes Tom Brady so special.
Okay, so what does Tom Brady do?
Russell Wilson last year made $35 million. Tom Brady made $25. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady has been taking pay cuts throughout his career to allow his franchise to build the roster and to build the personnel around him so that he could go on this dynastic run year after year after year. If Russell Wilson wants the same ability to go out and we saw him getting upset in the press box of the Super Bowl next to Roger Goodell looking at Tom Brady because of the fact that Tom Brady has all the same personnel and he was able to go out and bring in all these guys, and Antonio Brown was like ripping a Band-Aid specifically because he was rumored to nearly come to Seattle, and he ended up going to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl. So Russell Wilson was one of the biggest proponents for bringing in Antonio Brown to Seattle. So if you see that girl with another man get a ring, that is going to upset you. Russell Wilson wants more sane personnel, but he is not taking the pay cuts that Tom Brady takes. He is not helping the franchise help him. If you want more protection around you, help them help you. Take a pay cut. Come to the gym with me. Let's eat healthy together. I'm happy to get in shape as long as you get in shape with me. Help me help you. That's my message to Russell Wilson and Seattle.
Again, a long rabbit hole.
Wow.
I kind of see what you're getting at, because
I
do agree.
Sense. Yeah.
It makes I kind of see where you're coming from, because you definitely should, if you want help from someone, you should be willing to help them in return. And I definitely agree with that. Does Russell Wilson need to take a pay cut? It's possible. I don't know the Seahawks salary cap situation right now, but maybe it helps them get a new right tackle and a new center and whatever, and some new cornerbacks, like you said. But I do agree in the sense that if you want someone to help you, that you should help them in return. You know, that's kind of fair. Like kind of like eye for an eye. Like I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Kind of that idea.
Well,
so.
Right.
Quid pro quo.
Exactly, but like, I wouldn't even consider that an eye for an eye. Like, he's making $35 million a year. He goes down to $25 million a year. Oh no, he's still making $25 million a year. That's not even, in my opinion, that's not even close for an eye for an eye. That's more a Russell Wilson thing. That helps him more.
It's not eye for an eye, but like the analogy of like.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I get exactly what you mean, but
Yeah.
think about what $10 million extra a year will get you on that front line. That is huge money for a lineman, dude. Like, I get, being a lineman, offensive lineman, like probably one of the most underrated positions in the NFL, right? They deserve every penny they get. They have one of the hardest
like
jobs.
that's why you see the quarterbacks like getting them all these new like scooters and golf carts and cars.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
There's a reason like they do all the dirty work on the field and they hardly get any of the credit because linemen don't really show up in the stats as much as quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Because they don't get any yards per game. Like you can measure the win block rate of linemen, like how many sacks they allow in a season, like stuff like that. But no one ever looks at that compared to yards per game, like interceptions thrown by the quarterback, like tackles, fumbles out. Like lineman stats are obsolete, most kind of like the positions themselves. And I definitely agree with you on that. And I do think $10 million would be a significant amount of money to help improve your line. And I think if he was able to take a $10 million dollar cut, I think that would help them significantly. Because $25 million, like I can't even imagine having $1 million. Like I'm going to Vegas next week. I'd be
okay.
Lucky
Bro,
to win $1
Russell's
million.
also married to Sierra, who's a platinum artist.
Like I'd be so lucky to make $1 million. Like $25 million on top of what you've already made in your career. Like that's a significant.
Think about the sponsorships that he has, right? He's already got a few. He's got a couple with, is it Adidas or Nike? I can't even remember. But he's married to a multi-platinum artist.
Yeah, like he's
Sierra.
totally set. Like I'm not trying to.
You don't need the extra $10 million a year, bro. Think about how much better you could make your team that took a chance on you in the third round, who picked you up. You won a Super Bowl with us. Then we gave you your money. Think about how helpful. Just $10 million less. $10 million. You're still making $25 freaking million a year. I get that you want to be the highest paid quarterback,
but a pay cut would help them a lot.
A pay cut would just be so helpful.
It helps
and
them, salary cap helps them get new personnel in there. I think that's one of the best things Seattle and Russell do is have them take a pay cut, use that money for other people, get some new personnel in there. I think that's one of the best things they can do.
I get that he wants to be a high-paid quarterback, and I just don't understand how you don't see $25 million a year being not high-paid. But comparatively to other quarterbacks, you're not going to be Patrick Mahomes making $50 million a year. That's never going to happen, right? The Chiefs are ridiculous for giving him that much money, but just look at the success rate, like you were saying, Noah, of Tom Brady. Took a pay cut, went to Tampa Bay, proceeds to win a freaking Super Bowl.
Another one.
His seventh.
Another one. Another one.
Thank you, DJ Khaled. But it's just like, dude, it would help out. In the end, you still make your $25 million. You go home to your multi-platinum artist who also makes millions of dollars a year, and then you have a winning Super Bowl season. Your second one ensures you a Hall of Fame spot. I'm just saying.
Patrick Mahomes has also been to 2 straight Super Bowls. That's why they're paying him that giant, biggest.
The same argument can be made for Russ. He went to 2 straight Super Bowls.
How long ago was that, though?
The same years, almost the same years that he was in the league, like Patrick was.
They didn't give him that contract. So I'm just kind of talking about he hasn't been to the Super Bowl in a long time, and so I get that he wants to be paid like a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady. But look, Tom Brady, like we said, Tom Brady took the pay cut. Patrick Mahomes has been getting deeper and deeper into the playoffs, and they're only going to be better, I think, next year because everyone has the Chiefs as Super Bowl favorites again next year, even with Tampa Bay. Maybe not favorites, but they have a lot of people of Kansas City as favorites to at least represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson has just gone to the playoffs first or second round and then out the door, Yeah. So
I'm just wondering if he's worried about creating a future for his kids because he's already done that 3 times over. I don't know
generational
what's
going through his head there, but
it's kids, and then their kids. And
anyone.
Whatever. It's whatever.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Well. So here's the thing about it. So I'm not even just saying take a pay cut. Taking a pay cut's great, but if we could just back in this money, if we could push it down the line when the salary cap grows and we're going to be able to pay more people on our roster within that limit, we take it off of this year and we push it down the line, or we incentivize it. If we don't get to these successful places, the Super Bowl like we want to, and we don't get all the way down there, then you're not going to get the money. But if you let us do this pay cut and we bring in players, just for reference, I brought in, just for example, cutting $10 million off his contract. What that would have meant last year in terms of salary, it means we could have had Austin Blythe at left guard, we could have had David Andrews at center, and we could have had William Jackson, the cornerback. All three of those players last year combined to make less than $10 million. That would have been the difference.
Crazy.
That's two starting offensive linemen right now for Seattle, and a starting corner for Seattle.
That's nuts. It's crazy.
Those are 3 free agent targets that I have. That's more than Alex Mack made last year, Corey Linsley made last year. Those are 2 guys that we want at center, potentially. Pouncey, all these different things, all these different guys. Real quick, gentlemen, we'll talk about this and then we'll move off the NFL. The NFC West, as of right now, we all think Russell Wilson stays. Mm-hmm. How do we rank the teams? Go 4-1, one at a time. Aaron, let's go to you first.
San Francisco's at number 4 for me for obvious reasons, going 6-10. Not a good season for them. And they're still kind of garbage, even with Nick Bosa healthy. So I'm going to keep them in 4th.
All the way up. Just give me all of them.
Oh, yeah. And then, okay, well, honestly, I have it in the exact same order as it is from last year. Seattle number 1, LA number 2, Arizona number 3, and San Francisco number 4. I need JJ Watt to prove to me that he's going to make Arizona a better team before I put them any higher than 3rd. So.
Ooh, all right, controversial. Can we get okay? Aaron, I see an opportunity for Dew on the line here.
Oh Lord Almighty, here we go again.
No, Aaron, can we go if Arizona goes 8-8 or worse? A case of Dew.
Okay.
But if they go better than 8-8, barring a major injury to JJ Watt, Kyler Murray, nuke.
Wait. So except for the case that JJ Watt or Kyler Murray gets injured, that's what the deal is.
Or Nuke Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins. Better than an 8-8. I'm saying they get better because of JJ Watt. I don't think they go 8-8 or worse.
Well, no, I'm saying okay. So what I'm? How long do they have to be out? Like, how bad is this injury?
More than 3 games.
I don't know. Because to be fair, they're kind of lucky to go 8-8 last season.
I don't.
That buzzer beater against Buffalo.
Man.
Throwing that out there.
No, this is an iffy one. That's why I'm putting these little caveats.
So if these injuries happen and any of them are out for more than 3 games, then the bet's off. That's what we're calling this.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll take the under. I'll take they go worse than 8-8.
Okay, so worse than 8-8. So I got 8-8. Deal. Let's do it.
Wait. Hold on. Let me. This happened to me last time where you rushed me through this. I will take 8-8, including 8-8 or below. Okay. You're taking above 8-8. That's what we're doing this time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll give it to you. 9-7 or better.
Yeah, that's what you need.
I'm gonna put like a bunch of sticky notes on the wall with our bets.
You bet. You might have to, bro. I'm just excited for that when Trevor Lawrence gets benched. I'm excited for all that deal I'm about to get. But.
You better hope we forget. You better hope we get new phones by then. We don't have the same calendar app. Otherwise,
I'm across the country by then.
New identity, not even in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
Get out of the mountain.
Shows up to witness protection program. It's time.
They're like, let me guess, you lost the Mountain Dew bet? Yeah.
No. As soon as they see Trevor Lawrence is still starting, they already have your ID made, the new one.
They already have your case ready.
I'm gonna have the McLovin name, like from Superbad. That's gonna be my.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Asher. Rank your NFC West teams.
Okay, 4-1, just like Aaron. I have San Francisco at number 4 for the same reasons. Don't need to talk about that a lot. So this one might be a little interesting. in this, I do have Russell Wilson staying, and I ranked this accordingly. I put Seattle at 3 because I think Arizona will be slightly better than Seattle this year. With J.J. Watt, Kyler Murray, and DeAndre Hopkins will be better. They have another year. And then I have the Rams at 1. I think the Rams defense gets a lot better. I think Matt Stafford helps them because I think a lot of their struggles were from Jared Goff because he just wasn't very consistent. But with Matt Stafford being a veteran quarterback, a top 5 passer in the league for like consistently leading the league, not leading, but being top 5, top 7 in total yards. Having guys like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, I think will be good for them this year. I think the Rams can make a case for number 1 in their division.
That's
controversial, and I see it, but
No. It's okay. Hold on. I'm not even talking about your ranking because you'll see. Like, I agree that the Rams. I have the Rams number 1 on my list too.
Okay. Respect.
But I would not. You saved yourself by throwing in yards. Top 5 to 7 quarterback in the NFL because of like most yards per season. Because I'll give him that.
Because he hasn't led it, but he's consistently earned. Because you know how every week they go, okay, here's the league leaders in yards. Matt Stafford's usually on that graphic.
It's because they're always trailing. We're not gonna see that nearly as much on the Rams, I'm sure. But no, okay. If you say it like that, then okay. But if we're talking top 5, 7, he's not top 7. Even maybe he's arguably top 7. He's definitely top 10. So I'll give you he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, and that's where
I would agree with that. Yeah, he's not top 5 right now, I don't think, but top 10. He can make a case for top 10. I think.
I don't know if he's ever been top 5.
I would agree with that. I don't think I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer or not because he's been the face of the Lions franchise. But then again, read that again. The face of the Lions franchise. I don't know how much weight that has. He had a few good years with Megatron, but they didn't really do a whole lot. But again, I think him and the defense with Ramsey and Donald having another year under their belt. I think there's a case there for having him at 1.
All right, so I'd say the Rams are number 1 in the division. I also agree that Arizona is number 2 right now in the division with this J.J. Watt addition. That defensive front is terrifying, which we've had to say about the Niners and the Rams ever since I can remember. So I put Arizona number 2 on my list. Number 3, I put Seattle. Now, let me make this very clear. I don't think that when the season starts, Seattle will be number 3 on my list. Because I think when the season starts, we'll have a new left guard, a new center, a new right tackle, and new cornerbacks. And when we have those things, Seattle goes back to number 1. But until we get those things, as of right now, before the draft, before free agency, I put Seattle number 3. And I almost put Seattle number 4, even behind San Francisco. Because San Francisco was only bad last year because of all their injuries. Mm-hmm. And we saw that from Seattle 2 years ago where injuries derailed us and we made the playoffs. We won a playoff game, but we didn't advance. The following year, we didn't have the injuries and we had a much better, at least regular season. So I could see San Francisco coming back and winning this division, not just competing. I say San Francisco could win. As of right now, I say they have an extremely talented roster. They could push Seattle very much. And I say they're number 4, but just barely. The bottom of this division is higher than the NFC East top. That is how I feel.
It's probably one of the closest divisions in NFL right now, to be honest. Top to bottom, they're you can make an argument for any of these teams to go out and win the division this year. So, I agree with that.
All right, gentlemen, let's shift now. Let's kick the NFL to the back burner. College football schedules have been released for the Pac-12. Washington State University has our football schedule opening versus Utah State, Portland State, and USC all at home. We have a lot of really good games. I actually have a buddy a former teammate that plays for Portland State, so that's exciting. Emmanuel Dagby, I don't know if you know about him, but he's a wide receiver.
Good for him.
And lots of really cool games on this schedule, on the slate here. So, gentlemen, I want to get your instant reaction to the football schedule. We saw Rolovich's reaction. I saw Jimmy Lake, his reaction of the UW schedule as well. Lots of coaches are just excited to have a whole bunch of games on the schedule after such a limited year last year. Let's go to you for.
Yeah, that was because sorry, I'm kind of on the same wavelength with Rolovich. Just having a full schedule just makes me so happy because they only played 5 games last season. They went 1-4 and did not look great just because COVID just derailed everyone's plans, not just in football, but everything related to that. There was only one game at Martin Stadium. I called that game. They ended up choking to Oregon, and then the rest of the season they didn't really do a whole lot. But the thing, the schedule-wise, the thing that stood out to me was we're going back to Salt Lake City for the 4th time in 5 years to play Utah, and I know a lot of Cougar fans out there are not very happy with that, but that is something to consider because that is a longer road trip, and the back end of the schedule is definitely a lot tougher because we have most of our home games to start out the season, which is great. And I think that'll be really good when fall semester, hopefully things are slightly back open. You can allow fans into Martin Stadium. I think that would be huge. But going back to Salt Lake will be difficult, I think. But I think just overall, just the idea of seeing a graphic with that many football games scheduled for one team is just makes me really happy. And I really hope they can make it work. So.
Well, Asher, can we leave it on you for a Watch the Sports update?
Yeah, we could do that.
Reverse, if we were playing Uno.
What's that?
I just hit you with a reverse card. Go ahead.
Oh, reverse card. Do we want Aaron's reaction to the schedule before I get into this, or?
Oh yeah, I totally skipped Aaron. Aaron, I'm sorry.
Uno reverse and the skip card in once.
Okay. Anyways, oh Lord. As of right now, I'm predicting a 6-6 record for Washington State football this year, and that's the best we can honestly hope for. I expect the 2 wins against Utah State and Portland State for obvious reasons. No offense to your buddy Squabo, but yeah, that's just what I'm leaving it at. But then we're going to lose to USC because they won 5-0 last season, and so I mean, granted, it was a short season, but still going 5-0 is an incredible feat. In a short season that kind of had everybody going crazy. And then I also have a win against Cal and Oregon State because Cal was not an amazing team last year, and we beat Oregon State last year. And then I have a win against Arizona because they went 5-0, or I'm sorry, 0-5 last year. Really bad season, even due to COVID. That's still bad.
They gave up 70 in the territorial cup against Arizona State.
Yeah, exactly.
That was something to watch.
And then I have our 6th win being in the Apple Cup in UW.
You think they get it done? You think they get it done?
I say it every year, and when I'm right, it's going to be fantastic. So yes, I am saying it.
That's
again.
fair. It's bound to happen.
It is.
It's bound to happen. All right.
I completely agree. I completely agree with Aaron. But go ahead, Asher.
All right, sports update. I think this needs to be talked about first. No one is surprised by this. In fact, one of the very few things, no offense, the Pac-12 has gotten right. But freshman of the year for women, Charlie Sledge-Walker, 19.4 points per game, percentage points behind Ari McDonald, who's able to catch up to her. But total bucket, second person to ever get it for WSU, Alke Dietl. I don't know if I'm saying that right or wrong. I apologize. Won it in 97, 98. It's been that long since we've had a freshman do something like this. She was a bucket all year long. She did not have very many freshman moments, and most of them came against Stanford. But to Stanford's credit, they're just one of the best teams to ever be coached. Tara Vanderveer's just excellent at everything, and they held her to 8 points, I think, between 2 games because they had to do back-to-back in Pullman. It was 6 points one game and then 2 free throws next game. So it's definitely on film how to stop Charlize, but the rest of the Pac-12 did not have an answer to her. She averaged 19.4 a game, absolutely great. She's got a lot of bright things ahead for her. I think she's an NBA player for sure. Her sister also got a All Pac-12 defense team, honorable mention. That was really cool to see, and they have a lot of momentum going forward. They play Utah tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be calling that. They were able to force 18 turnovers off of Utah the last time they played. They're also missing Drew Gilton, and Utah came out and said today that they're also going to be really shorthanded for the tournament as well. We don't know which players are going to be out. I don't know if it's Drew Gilton, who was a really big piece they were missing because she is their leading assister, and they were able to shut Maxwell down. They only had 3 starters score in that game too, which kind of surprised me. They combined for 21 points. Those 3 starters did in the last game we played Utah. So we definitely have a favorable matchup in the first round on the women's side. So that's something I'm really looking forward to see. And then for this next part, I will just kick it to Aaron for baseball. But let me just say this. Wow, they are good. They're raking in some runs right now.
They're doing absolutely incredible, Asher. And, so they've only had one loss. They're 7-1 currently right now on the season. They're on a 4-win streak. They just swept Dixie State. And granted, I've never heard of Dixie State until looking at the roster and the schedule just now. But still, let me read you off the scores of their winning games. Okay, they're 7-1. They only lost to UC Davis once, and it was a 5-13 loss, so kind of a blowout. But here's been these scores so far: 11-1, 12-1, 5-3, 6-3, 19-5, 15-1, and 10-3. So these guys know how to play baseball, right? We have coming off of not a great season last year. They weren't very good, and then Kyle Manzardo happened. Granted, he's a junior this year. He played okay last year, pretty average. But the dude's hitting 458 on the season right now. Absolutely incredible numbers coming from Kyle Manzardo. And, I'm sorry, 457. Still absolutely incredible.
That's still Hall of Fame for MLB.
That's still in the MLB.
Not even worthy of discussion.
Exactly. And, okay, let's talk about our starting three batters that happened. Cody Colton hitting 412. And then Colin Montez hitting 407. Are you joking? These guys know how to. These guys can hit the freaking ball, dude. And Brandon White, our best pitcher out in the year. So far he's got a 0 ERA. He hasn't given up any runs while he's been in the game, which is impressive. I'll give you that. And then Zane Mills, who's got a 0.68 ERA right now. Both those guys are 2-0.
Those are really good numbers. And it's not the best competition, like you said. To be honest, I haven't heard of Dixie State either. No offense to them, but that's just the name that just wasn't on my radar. But having not just one, but having three, your first three batters all hitting over 400, you don't even see that in the pros. We're only 8 games in, but those are still really good numbers. They're ranked second in the Pac-12 right now for baseball. I think Oregon State's number 1, but
that's obvious.
We're coming home this weekend too, because we were originally going to play Seattle U in Seattle, but the weather over there switched it to Bailey Brayton. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can go watch them in person, because they've been really fun. They've been really fun to follow this, the duration of the season. 8 games in, having 3 guys over 400, and having 2 pitchers with an ERA under 1. That's unbelievable.
And that's 11. That's with 13 innings pitched, a .68 ERA. That's not easy to do. That's not easy. And also the 4th and 5th batters. Tristan Peterson hitting 343, and then Brady Hill hitting 333.
What's the worst batting percentage?
From our what I'm seeing right now, off of 10 at bats, Gunnar Goldsmith is hitting 100. So he's had 1 hit out of his 10 at bats. Not amazing. But
the rest of his teammates are hitting at 320 or above. That definitely makes sense.
Kyle Manzardo also already has 4 home runs. So
Manzardo's a home run machine. He was probably one of our top 2 or 3 players last season. So he's got 4. He's got 4 out of 8 games. So in every game, there's a 50% chance so far he'll knock one out of the park. So I'm stoked to see where our baseball team goes, because I love a good having a fun college baseball team is always such a huge thing. So going to those games was phenomenal.
It's great. It's awesome. Before
they shut everything down, and hopefully they can open it up. And not only let fans, but let us announce get in there also baseball, because this team looks super fun to announce. And Brian Green has done such a really great job, I think, getting building off what he already had from last season too. So I'm excited for baseball too, just like you. It's been really fun to get back on.
Yeah,
volleyball's been kicking butt too.
Halasheva hit 13 of 14 attempts, the best hitting percentage in WC history for a game. She only missed 1. It was 93%. I guess if you do the math, that's absurd, because I know it's not exact, but Jen Greeny, I didn't, don't quote me on this, but I guess she said at one point for non-volleyball players to consider hitting percentage in volleyball kind of like hitting percentage in baseball. So imagine imagine Kyle Manzardo hitting 929.
Yeah, whatever.
Exactly. That's just unheard of. So for a volleyball player to do that is slightly unheard of. For anything. Imagine Steph Curry shooting 92% from the field, or even the free throw line. That's still really remarkable. But for Yel Halasheva, I've said Yelarova a lot, and then I learned that there's an SH in there, in the pronunciation in there. But Yel Halasheva absolutely went off against Cal, so that was really cool to watch too. And they moved up in the rankings too, number 16.
They're good, bro. They're good.
WC Sports are in a really good spot right now.
Yes.
Really, really good spot. There's not a lot bad, except there is one thing with the men's side. They had to cancel their Arizona State game because of COVID, and whoever it is, I really hope they get better from that, and we hope they can make it work. But I don't know if it affects their tournament play at all, because the men's team starts their tournament next week, and so hopefully they can figure that out, because the men's tournament was already a little wacky with Arizona not being able to play because of their postseason ban. But that aside, like, I don't know who it is in the program, but they had to cancel, and they're hoping they can reschedule it for some time in Vegas. They'll just play a neutral site game against the Sun Devils, hopefully. But whoever it is, please get better soon. That is, unless Aaron has something else, that is WC Sports Update. And that's a lot of good things.
Volleyball, I mean, the last game I called for volleyball, Hannah Pukas had 37 of the 40 total assists in the Cougar side of the volleyball. Like, whatever. Like,
one of the best setters in the Pac-12.
So probably stupid, dude. It's ridiculous.
That's impressive.
It's so high too. Like, she can just dump it off whenever. She'll go on the attack, and the team won't expect it. She has really good placement. Like, every time I watch her play, like, I'm not disappointed in a lot of things. Like, she just has a really high volleyball IQ and just knows how to play the game super well.
She's only a sophomore,
and she's only getting better too. Jen Greeny's a phenomenal coach.
Now, Aaron, there have been some changes to the Mariners spring training.
Not just the Mariners. Like, the entirety of the rules for spring training has been changed this year. So, like, the new rules are, I'll give them to you real quick, a quick rundown. So games can be shortened to 5 innings maximum, according to a mutual manager agreement. So, like, before the game starts. The 3-batter minimum for a pitcher will not be enforced, because when a pitcher normally comes into the game, they are required to pitch to at least 3 batters. Which is, gives them some sort of playing time, and you can't just keep on switching after one guy hits a dinger off you, right? And then the biggest one, however, is the defensive manager. So let's say you're pitching and you're less than 20 pitches in, and you've already given up 3 home runs somehow. It happens. It's happened before. You go through 7 batters in an inning through 20 pitches before that it hits. The defensive manager can end the inning before getting 20 pitches. So let's say there's 2 outs, and you've pitched less than 20, and you've pitched more than 20 pitches. You can end the inning right there and call it good.
You don't even need to get the 3rd out?
You don't even need to get the 3rd out. No,
wow.
Which is weird. I know, but if you think about it,
that sounds like Wii baseball.
This is spring training.
Mercy rule.
Games aren't. Yeah, exactly. Mercy rule. The players are getting mic'd up for fun. This is all about figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses of your teams are. It's about getting better before the real season starts. Granted, I feel like there should be less spring training games, because it feels like spring training lasts forever. So I say you shorten it to a week or 2 of games instead of however long it goes right now, which is a long time. But Mariners are 1-1. They won the first game against the Padres, and they lost in the 8th inning today against Cleveland. That's when the managers agreed to enter the 8th inning, because it was up 6-1. So you might as well. But I mean, the Mariners have.
That's something I would have never thought happened in baseball.
Culture shock.
We're giving up too much. Let's just end the inning. It's like, okay.
At that point, like, it is spring training. It does not matter. But I don't see the Mariners doing super well until, like, later on in the season, when Kalesnik, I can't say his last name, comes back. Kelenic, yeah. Kelenic comes in, then Rodriguez comes in. 2 of our new studs that probably won't get a bunch of playing time, because they need more eligibility throughout the minor leagues this year. But, yeah. Mariners are 1-1. They're probably not going to do amazing this year either. So,
well, gentlemen, I didn't think we'd have enough to talk about on today's show, but as has been a trend in the past, we oftentimes find ourselves with too much to talk about. We've reached the end of the show. I want to give you guys an opportunity to shout out where people can find you. You can find me at social media at DJSQUABO, and on YouTube at The Following, or at the same place. Asher, let's go to you.
Asher Line on all social media. I made a new TikTok today reading gibberish. I guess I'm really.
I saw it.
It came out. Check it out.
It popped up on my For You page, bro.
Hey, dude, because it's for you. It's good content.
Oh, it's for you. Wow.
Also, shout out to the Knicks for being 4th in the East. Not my biggest surprise, which we were going to talk about, because I haven't been sleeping on the Knicks, but they're 4th in the East right now. Julius Randle's playing great. They're awesome. I love to see the Knicks do good.
That was my biggest surprise. Aaron, let's go to you.
At Aaron Monson on Twitter and Instagram. And Instagram's at Aaron Wait, no, my Twitter is at Aaron__Moss. Instagram
You
is
got to
at
make it all the same. You can't get it all mixed up.
Well, but I can't. I like the differences.
Hey, I respect that.
And then my TikTok's at Aaron Moss if you feel like following me there. But
Hey,
that's it. Go Cougs.
your Instagram presence and your Twitter presence are different entities. They must be treated and respected as such.
Thank you.
I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
I can appreciate it, Aaron. I can appreciate it. Coming from a guy with like 14 different handles on
I was
20
gonna say,
different.
Bro, come on.
Yeah, so I'm with you. All right, gentlemen, thank you guys as always for tuning in live during the show. Hit that subscribe button down below. Definitely tune in if you're catching this on the radio. Tune in live on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock on KUGR's YouTube channel. KUGR Radio on YouTube. As always, this is your home for Seahawks and Cougar coverage on